everyone. Welcome back to another episode of How to Live the podcast. We are your hosts, Jess and Stef Dadon, coming to you on holiday this morning.
Yahoo! Happy holidays, y'all.
We are out of office. We've spent the weekend in beautiful Margaret River.
With our beautiful mother.
Yeah, having the best time, just like winerying it up.
Wedding it up.
Reading a lot, taking it super slow. Unfortunately, not the best weather. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of book reading. You're actually reading Laura Lynn Jackson's book, Signs.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Our favorite psychic medium. If you haven't listened to that episode, you have to. So many people have written to us saying they've had the craziest coincidences, even though they're not coincidences, happen to them after listening to the episode. Really, really powerful. But this week, before we do get into this episode, there is something really important that we wanted to chat about because tomorrow is the Melbourne Cup in Melbourne, which is a giant gathering of people where they sit around, get really drunk, have a lot of fun, and watch horse racing.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We don't want to be calling anyone out. We used to be those people that went to the races and had a really fun time, and we always had great days and great memories, beautiful outfits, all those good things. But the thing that we're realizing more and more as we kind of dive down this animal rights rabbit hole is that...
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Horse racing, it's not nice.
It's animal suffering, really. And we get it. It is so much fun to go out and have fun with your friends. But why do animals have to suffer in order for us to have fun?
Totally. And I think the thing is, we posted this on Instagram the other day, and it's just so true. Whenever kind of horse racing gets brought up, there are always people saying, but I know someone who rides horses and they love their horse and they kiss them every night when they go to bed and, all that good stuff. We're not saying that the whole industry is bad. We know there are a lot of people who work in the industry that do love horses, but unfortunately, the way that it's been built is to...
exploit horses for making money.
Exactly,
really.
Which we don't agree with, and so we want to stand by what we believe in, and so this year we've decided that we're not going to support it.
So we are going to be saying Nup to the Cup, which is a really cool movement that has started in Melbourne in recent years, and we are encouraging other people to say Nup to the Cup too. If you go on Nup to the Cup's website, you will see a lot of awesome ways that you can spend the public holiday instead of going to the horse races. So we really encourage you, don't watch it this year, don't support it, go have fun with your friends, but just don't do it at the expense of animals.
Totally. So before we get into this week's awesome episode with the two of us, we just wanted to say stick around to the end of the episode because we have some freaking exciting news about who's going to be on our podcast next week.
You might remember recently when we were in the US, we were talking about how we were going to interview just casually a movie star. So that is the episode that is on next week. She is a huge, epic, massive freaking movie star that you are definitely going to know and love. And stick around to the end to find out who it is. So let's do this. What are we talking about today?
So today we are going to be taking you through persuasive emailing.
Okay, this is like one of my favorite topics ever.
Yeah, so this is one of our secret weapons, persuasive emailing, and it's something that we didn't even realize not everyone else was doing. So we were just like out here emailing away and having a lot of amazing opportunities come from it. And then the more we talk to people, the more we realize that a lot of people don't do this.
Honestly, I'm going to go out there and say this is actually the secret to our success. Like,
whoa.
But like,
really?
Think about it.
That's a ginormous call.
Well, everything that we've gotten through just sending a really fucking persuasive email.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
You just swore, and I got a good talking to from our dad last night about how it makes us sound dumb when we swear, just so you know.
Thanks, Dad. Sorry
no,
about that.
he said it in a nice way. He was just like, you're so much more intelligent than that.
Okay.
Anyway. I digress.
So I think where our emailing really started from, we have to give credit where credit is due. And that would be Romina Calabro. Don't you reckon?
Snaps for Romina.
Snaps to Romina.
I wasn't there. I was like 16 years old.
You weren't even 16, mate. I was 18 years old.
So I was like 12.
I had my first job at the Melbourne International Jazz Festival, which was so much fun. I was coordinating 200 volunteers with all of my 18-year-old chutzpahness. And Romina was my boss, and she was a really awesome, persuasive emailer, and she taught me a lot of her secrets, and then I taught you a lot of those secrets. And then I think it's just all kind of like we threw it all in the blender and we added a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of sugar and spice.
Well, and it's definitely like something that when people come into our team, that's one of the first things that we teach them is how to write a persuasive email.
Definitely. And how to write a professional email, because that is very important. I actually remember one time Romina got me to send like an urgent email somewhere. She was like, just put urgent in the title. And I was like, urgent, exclamation, 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 exclamation. And she was like, oh shit, you didn't send that, did you? So like, you know, we all make mistakes and we're here to learn. And today we are here to pass on all of our wisdom to you on how to write a persuasive email.
Totally. So we thought to kick things off, it could be good to kind of talk you through a few of the amazing opportunities that have come from us writing these emails. And the thing is, we could go on and on literally.
And on.
If you asked us, oh, did that come from you writing a cold email? The answer would probably be yes, because I would say about 95% of the things that we've done comes from a cold email.
Actually, I just realized the coolest thing that's come from a cold email that we didn't even write down. If you guys didn't know, this podcast is on Qantas Airways. If you are listening to this on Qantas Airways, hey.
Oh my God. Yes.
And that actually came from a cold email. So you really never know what you can get until you just put yourself out there on the internet.
Totally. So thinking back to like the early days of How to Live, where like, you know, writing away at our blog, we're very small. We have a tiny little readership. And then Stef was living in Paris at the time, and it was my uni holidays. We've told this story a million times, but I was going over to Paris to visit her, and it just perfectly coincided with Paris Fashion Week. And of course, you know, being the absolute divas that we were like, we can't wear our own wardrobes to Fashion Week. We need like these amazing, like, don't people get dressed for this shit?
Yeah, I don't even know why we decided we needed to get dressed properly
it's
for
really
Fashion Week.
Extra.
Yeah, like we'd probably be watching too much Rachel Zoe Project or something like
or
that.
Like Gossip Girl.
Yeah, and we were like, yeah, no, we can't wear our own wardrobe. We must be dressed for the occasion. And so we just honestly sent a cold email to a bunch of PR agencies. And I remember we sent them and nobody responded. And I remember we just kept sending to any PR agencies we could find. And like the day before we were going to leave, we got this email from someone. Oh, it was Ray from Little Heroes PR in Sydney.
Epic memory.
I know, it just came to me. And she was like, yeah, I represent Shakuhachi, Alice McCall, like all our favorite labels at the time. Why don't you come in and I'll dress you? And this was literally just off one persuasive, persistent email.
Totally. And so today in this episode, we're going to break down for you how we actually get these opportunities. Some other things that we've had come from these emails is sponsors for events.
Like we get, every time we want to throw an event, we're like, you know, we're a startup. We don't have budget to be putting like, you know, food and drinks and like all this stuff into these crazy events.
Or even money. Like we got someone to sponsor $10,000 towards the event, which was so helpful in actually putting it together.
Oh my God, that was just crazy. Like that was unbelievable. And we'd never even met this company before. We sent a cold email asking if they would want to sponsor. And obviously there are some follow-up emails involved. But it all...
And some follow-up meetings.
Yes, but it all just comes down to one very persuasive email at the beginning. But yeah, we've had a lot of food and drink sponsored by awesome companies, you know, doing like things like Tokyo Tina have catered some events for us, and that was just off a cold email too.
Totally. And then, of course, the most obvious one when we were discussing this was podcast guests, because
we've really put our emailing skills to very good use with this podcast.
We've really refined the skills. So, you know, looking at our guests from the very first guest we had on, Christina Carlson from KKK, that was a cold email.
It was.
And then to the most recent podcast guest we had on, Ingrid Newkirk, the founder of PETA, cold email.
And I think like, you know, they haven't all been cold. Like a lot of the people that we've had on are our friends. But it's all about like combining the, like, you know, you hustle a little bit and you use like the connections you do have and you leverage that stuff to get connections that you don't have. And we're going to get totally into all of these concepts.
Let's dive right in. So how to actually write the email. Step 1.
Very important step.
Exactly. So right from the beginning, please, please, please write their name. Write hi name. If you get that name wrong, they will never respond to you.
Oh my God, this actually happened to us the other day where someone was like, hi, Diane. I'm thinking
Oh my
about
God,
this.
it was really funny.
And then they wrote like a minute later being like, oops,
they said, I was on the phone to Diane when I wrote that email. Silly me. It's like, mate, that's so obvious.
yeah, we're
All
like,
the trick in the book.
yeah, it's really important. Get the name right. We also get hi, hey, lovely is one that we get a lot, and like
yeah, it's
that
obvious, guys.
It's
like,
obvious.
Come on, put in a little bit of effort.
And also with us, there are two of us, so we can really see when someone's just like sending out a generic email to a bunch of people, and they're like, "Hi, lovely," and we're like, "There are two of us." So also when people accidentally BCC, they want to BCC and they end up CCing everyone. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's really bad. So basically, what we suggest that you do is kind of come up with a template email and then start to kind of customize it and leave areas where you can make it specific to the person that you're sending. So the name is one of them. And then straight after that, you say, hi, blah. You kind of want to go into stuff about them. So in terms of what these emails are for, you can really use them for anything. So it might be applying for a job. It might be to network with somebody you're really keen on connecting with. It might be to talk to a brand that you really want to work with. It might even be that you're writing to a brand to tell them something you'd love to see them doing. Like, for example, at the moment, there's this bakery right now that I'm trying to get them to stop using plastic bags. Perfect time to use this kind of persuasive emailing.
Perfect. Who's that?
I feel bad naming and shaming.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's Glicks.
Oh, it's Glicks Bagels.
Glicks, stop using plastic bags.
Please, Glicks, stop using plastic bags. But your bagels are so delicious.
They're so yum.
So is your challah. Anyway, so yeah, you can use these form of emailing for a lot of different things. And like Jess said, it could be for work, but it could be for something personal. And it's just a really handy skill to have. So the first thing that's really important to keep in mind is that when you're emailing, you want to keep things professional. Now, when I say professional, I don't mean you have to be like, very warmest regards. You don't have to make it like uber
over the top.
Yes, but what you do have to do is use correct grammar, make sure your spelling is correct, make sure you get their name right, which is something that we've had go wrong a lot of times.
Unlike on our podcast, don't swear in the email.
Don't swear.
Don't swear. I think that's a pretty confident. I mean, I'm confident in saying swearing in an email won't get you a lot.
No. And capitalizing is really important. And
grammar,
spacing is really important. I can't, these things sound so basic, but honestly, if I get an email, like I want paragraphs to have gaps between them, like hi, name, enter, enter. Hope you're having a great week. Enter, enter, full stop, enter, enter. And then, so on and so forth.
Totally. And it sounds really obvious, but totally. I mean, when Stef started teaching me this at the beginning of my career, I definitely didn't get it all right. And even when we see, people coming through our doors that are working with us, it's just not as obvious as it seems initially.
And even if you're not someone that's great at spelling or grammar, there are tools that you can use. Like Grammarly is something that I actually can't vouch for, but I've had it advertised to me at the front of YouTube videos a lot, where you can like install this plugin and it like checks your grammar for you like a spell check, or ask somebody to look over it for you before sending. That's good at that. And eventually, honestly, it's just about paying attention and becoming aware of it and making sure that you're triple checking things before you send them. I can't tell you, like, I am unfortunately like, a stickler for grammar and all that stuff, but really it's because I proofread things like 4 times before I send them out, because if you're sending an important email, it's worth it.
Sometimes I forget to proofread things because I'm not as a stickler as Stephanie. And then I click that undo button, I'll click send, and then I'm like, undo, 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 or unsend, whatever it is, because I'm like, shit, I didn't proofread that. It might be all wrong.
Yeah,
it usually isn't, but it's really important that you proofread.
Well, even just like, one stray word in an email. Like if I get an email from somebody and they're just like missing a word in there, then it just comes across to me like that person didn't put the utmost care into that email. I said utmost, not upmost, because that's, I think, what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Weird word, right?
Utmost.
Yeah, utmost.
And then in terms of actually writing the email, this is something that we see a lot. We often also will help our friends writing emails and just like proofreading things for them. And something that I think that particularly I see in women, and I know that I experience this myself, we don't know our worth. So when we're writing an email, we beat around the bush. We like thank them a gazillion times, even though we're also helping them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And actually, I was looking over an email from a friend the other day, and that's exactly what she did. Was she was like, like she'd written at the end, like, I'm so grateful for you for taking the time to read this email. And like, I totally understand, like, that's awesome. She's an appreciative person, but how that comes across in a cold email is like, that this person seems a bit amateurish almost, because they're like so grateful that I'm reading their email. Whereas if you kind of just go in a little bit strong and backing yourself and really like come to the party saying, hey, this is what I can offer you. Well, that's the point in the email, right? Like you've got like a couple
You've got skills, man.
Yeah, like, and you've got like 100 words to get across. Why should this person be reading your email? Why should this person be persuaded to do whatever you're doing or, take you up on your offer? Really like own that. Take that time to like persuade them.
I almost want to say like channel your masculine energy. Like we often just like we want people to like us, and we just kind of like don't really want to like get to the point or like actually say what we feel, what we mean, what we want. We're scared of all of those things. But an email is a time to really just put out exactly what you want. Perfect example when I felt this was yesterday. At the moment, I've been working on Tubes Autumn Winter 2020. It's looking amazing.
Oh my God, it's looking so good.
But I was writing to a buyer and I was asking them to place an order, but I said it in this really roundabout way that was basically like, you could place it now or you could place it later, like whatever you want, like it's okay, we don't mind. And then it was like, also it was like 3 sentences long. And in reality, all I wanted to say was, would love you to place your order by the end of the week. And that's what I ended up saying. And that was effective, and that made her responsive to me, and that just made the exchange a lot easier, simpler, and more effective.
Totally. And when Jess says channel your masculine energy, I just want to break that down for a second for you. So she's not saying be like a guy. She's not saying think like a guy. But
we all have masculine energy.
Exactly. All of us, male or female, we all have masculine energy and we all have feminine energy. And these are things that like we can channel different parts of us in different times. Something we've been speaking about a lot lately is how we should all be bringing our feminine energy more to doing business. But emailing is definitely one where if you do channel your more masculine energy, your directness, you are going to get more out of it.
Absolutely. And then something else that we really encourage you to write, like a solid little paragraph. When we say paragraphs in emails, we by no means mean long. What's in it for them? So it's really important, we call this WIFM, that you include an area of your email to talk about.
WIFM is what's in it for me, by the way. It should be whiff it.
Whiff it. Like whip it.
Yeah.
It's really important that you include in the email why they need you, why they want you, what you can do for them. They need to know why they are going to benefit from it, because ultimately that's what's going to get their decision across the line.
Totally, because think about how many emails this person gets in a day. And if they're out there, doing favors for people, then they would just be like thinking about everyone else all the time. But really, we're all trying to, in our day, we're all thinking about, okay, I've got to get this job done. How am I going to get this job done? And if somebody comes along and they're like, hey, I could help you get this job done by doing this, then that's what's really going to resonate with them.
An example of that is when we're contacting brands to collaborate. We're not only talking about Tubes and how amazing we are, but we then outline what they would receive by working with us. So, they would get access to our demographic. They would get access to our diehard following. They would have really nice animal friendly alignment, all these things that we're bringing to the party for them.
And the thing is, like, when we're talking about writing to brands here, like we could be writing to like the biggest brand in the world, like you could be writing to Beats headphones trying to collaborate with them. And just because you're much smaller than them, it still means you've got something that they don't have. Like, you might
if you're
have
a
this
smaller brand, it's like, oh, we're grassroots, we're on the ground. Like we have this
we know our
diehard demographic in Melbourne, whatever it is.
Exactly. So you always have something to bring to the table. And this is actually what my friend said the other day. She's a songwriter and she was like, I don't have anything to offer them. And I was like, well, you're really good at connecting with people and like speaking to people and finding their story and writing a song about that. So that's something you could offer them. And she was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like, you know, you've got to just like stop and actually think. We're not trying to bullshit people here. Stop and think, what do you actually have to offer them? And then put that down in the email, and it's going to come across as genuine, and it's really going to be eye-catching for them.
Totally. And then something else that we really like to write these emails by is the rule of 3. So when you're giving them information about you or the project that you're working on, rather than brain dumping into this email and just telling them as much information as possible, maybe that will be helpful for you just to get the words out. But then ultimately, you should really be picking 3. You can dot point them. Dot points make emails look really nice and kind of like concise. And then
easy to read.
Yeah, just say, this is what I could do, ... and then list the 3 things. And then that's all, you know, not too much information, not too little information. 3 is a really good number.
Totally. And we are the queens of too much information. Like whenever anyone used to ask us about our brand, we'd be like, it's animal friendly and it's really colorful and we support women and we want inclusivity. And like, you know, we want all the things. We do want all those things and we have so much to talk about. But yeah, you've really got to like keep it concise. And the rule of 3s is a really good one, that whenever you're listing things and you find you're listing too many, just think of the 3 best things. So another really important thing to think about is customizing the email to make it relevant to the person you're sending to. So think of this initial email that you've written as your template. You know, you've put in your with it, as we now call it. You've been direct, you've been professional, you've put in a few things that you're good at, and you've really talked yourself up, but also made it relevant to them and told them why they'll be interested. The next thing that you want to do is you really want to add in a first line that's going to be personalized to the person that you're sending the email to. And this is really easy to do. So when you're sending out a whole bunch of emails, it can be tempting to just copy and paste them. But really what's going to be eye-catching is if you can write something really specific to somebody. And I actually have a really good example of that from back in the day when I was running a vintage fashion market. And I'm not sure if I've shared this story here before, but I was sending emails to journalists all the time being like, hey, can you please write about my fashion market? And honestly, like we didn't get that many responses. But then I actually saw Janice Breen Burns, who at the time was the fashion editor of The Age. I saw her speaking at an event and I think she was presented with an award. So I was like, ding, the next time that I wanted to send Janice an email, rather than just being like, hi, I have this market, I could be like, hi, Janice, I just want to say I saw you speaking the other night at this event. Congratulations on the award. It's really incredible. I really admire your work. And for the first time ever, I reckon I had emailed her already like 10 times before this, I actually got a response, and I actually could feel in her response that she wasn't used to getting that kind of personalized greeting in an email, like connecting as though we are 2 human beings. And she really appreciated it. She wrote back, she was like, thank you so much. She elaborated a little bit about the awards, and then she went on to respond to my email. So really adding in that personalized line can go a really long way. Jump on Instagram, see what the person's been up to lately, you know, take a little bit of time to make it personalized to that person, and it is going to go so much further for you.
For sure. And then another one is like, know your audience and play to it. So like, who are you speaking to? I think the biggest thing for me with emails is visuals. And I get that, you know, we're not some fancy schmancy law firm that someone's trying to catch the attention. Maybe when you're writing to a law firm, a GIF isn't the best to include. But when you're contacting someone that's like a little bit more lighthearted or a bit more fun or a bit more playful, don't be afraid to include a GIF or, you know, embed a photo, or adding any sort of touch like that in an email automatically makes it way more eye-catching. You've got to think, someone who you're reaching out to, they might receive 100 plus emails in their inbox a day. So how are you going to stand out?
So once you have your email template and you've got your little customized line in there, well, we actually find that it can be good that rather than just sending the same email to every single person, that it can be great to test out different email lengths and things. So if you do have like a bunch more info that you want to include, or you have like a whole presentation document that you've put together and you're not sure if it's too much, feel free to just test out different lengths and different attachments into different emails and see what different people respond to. And from there you can adjust, and each time you'll get better at it.
For sure. And then something else is subject. And this is a massive one because it's ultimately what's going to
huge.
It's going to make someone click or delete your email, really. And so here, subjects are hard. I get really stuck with them.
Subjects are so hard. Can I tell you my favorite tip on subjects? Is not capitalizing every word. Like I feel like
you do love that.
Yes, because I read this somewhere once and it's so true. Like think about how your friend would send you an email. Like you're going to open an email from a friend, right? So if someone was just like, hey, check this out, then you would open it because like, you know, it's friendly. It's from your friend. So if something's like really capitalized, you might not get into it. But if something just like, it catches them off guard a little bit. You know what I mean?
Totally. And I think also here, just like everything, play to your strengths. So an example of that is often when we're traveling, we know that people love Australians. So if we're trying
to... this is a good trick right here.
If we're trying
all of Australia is going to be sending America this email subject.
So yeah, if we're trying to get someone's attention and we feel like it will be a strength that we are Australian, we often just write like Aussies in LA.
Yeah. Hey from Australia. Wave emoji.
Love from Australia. You know, all those kinds of things that it needs to not be normal. If you're going to send them a normal, like, you know, if you're sending someone a resume, do not say my resume or job application. No, say something really eye-catching and creative like I am your dream candidate.
Yes, I would love to open that email.
Something like that. And don't be afraid to like be over the top about it and be like self-indulgent because ultimately that's what's going to get you places. You know, like we're all just like out here being like, I don't want to talk myself up. But honestly, this is the platform to talk yourself up. I can't say that enough. We receive so many resumes. And if I get a sense of someone feeling unsure of themselves in their email,
then you're unsure of them,
then
right?
I'm not confident in them.
Yeah.
I'm not confident in their abilities. Why are they emailing me?
Yes.
If they don't even sound like they're up for the task.
Oh, preach. I feel like we all just needed that little pep talk. Thanks, Jess.
No props.
And I think even when we're like, you know, persuasive emailing, I'm just thinking like it applies to everything. Like when we're sending out an invitation to an event, it applies. Like, you know, we get a lot of invitations to events that are just like,
run of the mill.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like every single word that you put on that page should be a word that you're proud of. When we send out invitations, we think about the subjects because, you know, if we're inviting media, we know how many emails they get from other people inviting them to events. Like I remember when we did our DIY workshop, we wrote a really great email and the subject was your invitation to create. And then it had a scissor emoji and a gem emoji. Definitely use emojis where emojis are appropriate.
Absolutely. I pay that. So then you've written this amazing email. You've got your template down. You've customized it for the people that you're trying to contact.
You may have added a GIF in if it was appropriate. And you've definitely got a killer subject that may or may not have emojis in it.
So how do you find people's email addresses that you want to get in touch on? Toughie.
This is my favorite. I think we have talked about this before, but do you know what? If you tell me you can't find somebody's email address, I do not believe you. At the very least, the easiest way, I mean, it's time consuming, but if you cannot find somebody's email address anywhere, just guess it and guess it and guess it and keep guessing until you don't get that bounce back email.
Oh, what a good feeling is that when you don't get the bounce back.
Oh, Eva Chen. I sent her an email recently to like 10 different email addresses and finally I got it.
Did she respond?
No. But I did read that she reads all of her DMs. So next time I'm going to DM her.
True.
But you know what I mean? Like you can actually Google email template for so many different companies. Like, you know, usually they'll have like first name dot last name at company.com. So Rocket Reach is an amazing tool. You can sign up for free and I think they give you something like 5 free email addresses a day. You literally just go onto rocketreach.co, I want to say, and you plug in somebody's name or you copy paste their LinkedIn profile and it will come up with their email address. It'll usually have their work email address, their personal address. Hot tip, don't send an email to somebody's personal email address, even if you manage to find it. Yeah, I don't think people really appreciate that generally. But Rocket Reach, if they don't have the email address of the person, they'll usually have a suggested email format and then you just go for it. Try first name dot last name at company.com, then first name last name, then last name dot first name. Do you get where I'm going with this? Keep trying.
I get it.
Yeah.
Other places you can find emails. LinkedIn, great one. Instagram, Twitter.
Twitter,
Check people's bios.
Oh, a lot of journalists have in their Twitter bios, they'll have their email address.
If they don't have it and you can't find it anywhere, another good thing to do is DM them via like Instagram or Twitter, whichever platform they're on. We often get DMs from people asking for our email address. Gladly give them out.
And also if you're like finding, like you're trying to access someone from like the Herald Sun newspaper, let's say, and you're like at heraldsun.com.au and it's not working, go and find somebody else's email address that works in that organization and you'll see, oh, it's at news.com.au. And then you'll start on the at news.com.au guesses.
Totally. Another one is if, let's say you're trying to get in touch with a brand and you can't find the person's email address, on their website, they'll have like customer service or they have PR inquiries. You can write to those emails and you can ask them for the person's email you're trying to get in touch with, or just write it. So like, perfect example, the other day, a few months ago now.
Pre you being a yoga teacher.
I really wanted to get in touch with Upstate, which is the studio that I'm now working at. Yay!
Woohoo!
Because they were founded by sisters and I thought that was super cool. I couldn't find the sisters' emails. So rather, I just wrote to the customer service and I was like, hey, I really want to get in touch with the owners. And then I think I just wrote the email as if it was to the owners after that. And then I got a response from the owners directly. So, it really, really works. People aren't that cagey, like, because they don't know who you are. And if you've talked yourself up and known your worth when you get in touch with them in the first place, then they think you're amazing. And they're like, oh, of course you can have this person's email.
I feel like know your worth is the biggest takeaway from this podcast episode.
Know your worth, people.
And the other one that's really amazing is just call. Like, I can't even tell you how many times, like you said, people aren't actually that cagey. Like, if you call up a place, it can be a media outlet, it can be a brand, it can be the customer service email address, whatever it is. If you call up and you just act like you know what you're doing and you're like, hi, I'm just calling to ask for Jess Sedon's email address, please. Could you please confirm that? They'll confirm it for you. Or this is my favorite. I did this to someone the other day. I say, could you just confirm for me that this person's email address is this at this.com? And then even if they like weren't necessarily going to give it out to you in the first place, because you just said it, they're like, yeah, that's it.
So then the next kind of step here, once you've got their email, you've got the email template down, you've got their email address, is
send the email.
But don't just send it to one person. Send it to 100 people.
Well, it depends what you're trying to get, to be fair.
True.
Like if you're trying to get something from one person, then you send it to one person. But if the aim, like, okay, for example, my boyfriend is about to go to the US and he's like, sorry, Renan, I'm really sorry to out you like this. He's like, I really want to meet with some cool people while I'm in the US. He's in startups. He's like, I want to meet with some cool startups. So I've sent out a few emails and I'm waiting to hear back from some of them and I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, dude, you sent 3 emails to try to get 3 meetings? Try 100 emails to try to get 3 meetings. And he's like, what? That's so much vulnerability. And I'm like, it isn't vulnerability. You just
take
gotta,
yeah. When you write the email initially, have the vulnerability.
Definitely.
In there.
But then once it comes to clicking that send button, vulnerability is no longer your friend, because I know how that is. Being a perfectionist, it can feel really daunting, but you've just got to get into that, like, pumping them out. You're sending those emails. Just take all the vulnerability out of it and just let the emails do the talking.
We've probably had 40 or so guests on the podcast so far, and I feel like we've sent out at least 500 emails.
Oh, for sure.
At least. Like, you just have to have absolutely no shame and just send.
And the thing is, like, obviously here there's a fear of somebody coming back and saying no, and that's obviously, what Renan is scared of. But really, you've just got to be like, I think eventually you learn to celebrate the no's, because you just like, you know what? I put myself out there. Good for me. I know my worth. If that person isn't interested, then that's fine. That's on them. But I'm just going to keep pushing through and I'm going to get my yeses eventually. Well, can't tell you how many times we've had no's, if that makes you feel better about yours.
And also, like, if you have 100 balls in the air and then 97 of them come back no and 3 come back yes, compared to if you have 3 balls in the air and all 3 come back no. Devastating. Like,
so true.
Once there's 100 in there, it's 1 in 100 no. Okay, who cares? 1 in 100 no. Who cares? Like, it really just makes it way easier the more options you have open for yourself.
Yes, totally. And just know that we all get the no's and it's okay. It is not a reflection on you. Keep going.
Totally. Follow-ups are really important.
Oh, this is something that people don't realize, because I get that people don't want to be pushy and that's really nice of you. But the thing is, people need to be reminded of stuff. Like we'll often get an email, and especially somebody who has a disorganized inbox, which we do not have because we're going to chat about that in a little bit. But if you have a disorganized inbox, it can be really easy to just scroll past somebody's email and miss it and forget to go back to it. So how are they going to see it if you don't follow up with them?
Yeah, you need to follow up. You can follow up twice, 3 times. We've probably followed up more than that. Following this, we just wanted to give you a few tips and tricks that have made our emailing life a lot easier, or lives really, because there's 2 of us.
There are 2 of us, but sometimes it feels like there's 1 of us.
There are a lot of like apps and plugins and little secrets like that we've discovered along the way that we thought it would be really great to share today. So the first one is follow up then.
Oh, follow up then is a game changer.
It is definition game changer. So you know when someone's emailed you and then you've emailed back and maybe like, oh, for example, one of you's going away and they're like, okay, let's get back in touch next month.
Oh yes, I know that moment. I know that moment well.
Okay, so how the hell are you going to remember to get back in touch with them next month?
No, I don't know. I used to not know at all.
Especially when you have your 100 balls in the air. So the secret to this is rather than putting it in your calendar or something lame like that, sometimes I used to put it in my calendar under like right back to Stef, and then it'd get to that point and I'd be like, who the hell is Stef? Oh well, I'll just forget about it. And then I would never follow up. So follow up then is basically this thing where...
And by the way, Adam Milgram, thank you for teaching us follow up then.
Very much thank you. So if you're in the email thread, what you do is you just forward it to a date at followupthen.com. And then follow up then will send you back an email saying, hey, we got your follow up. We'll send you the follow up on the date that you requested.
And the genius thing is that follow up knows that we're all really lazy and we don't like to remember any kind of system. So you can pretty much write any date or day format into follow up then, and it will know what you're talking about. So I can write Monday at followupthen.com. I can write 19 July at followupthen.com. I can write 1 week at followupthen.com, and it will remind you at that time.
So it's just like in that 2 area where you would send somebody an email rather than writing in their email address, you just write in follow up then.
So you can forward an email to that. You can BCC it. Don't accidentally CC it unless you both know about the follow up then. Like I could be like, hey Jess, let's discuss this in a week, and I could CC 1 week at followupthen.com. The first time you send an email to followupthen.com, it will send you an email back being like, hey, you haven't done this before. Can you sign up? You sign up and then you're good to go forever.
It's free. It's easy. It's amazing. It's the best trick we've learned, I think.
It really is. The other thing is you want to be thinking about what time you send out an email. You know, can't tell you how many times we've gotten an email at like 1 a.m. and we've been like, this is a little bit weird. And to be honest, it kind of comes off as unprofessional.
Unprofessional. Like, why are you working at 1 a.m.? Like,
yeah, but I get it. Like some people work well at 1 a.m.
Totally.
Sometimes
I just don't want to know about it.
Yeah. And like sometimes I work well at night, but what I'll do is I'll use this awesome tool called HubSpot, and I'll schedule an email to send next day at 8 a.m. It's pretty genius.
So how do you use HubSpot? Is it like a .com?
So I think you just look up HubSpot for Gmail, and it's a plugin for Gmail. If you Google HubSpot, HUBSPOT, it'll come up. It's super easy. And the other thing is when you're sending an email to an organization, you want to send it at a time that's going to work for them. For example, when we had Mel Singer, the fashion editor of The Age, on this podcast, she talked about the times that it was best for a journalist to receive an email. So like first thing in the morning, people are sorting through their inboxes and it's madness. But, you know, if somebody publishes a newspaper on a Saturday, you know that Friday 5 p.m. is not going to be a good time for them to get an email. So, you know, think about that. Think about the time zone that the other person is in and try to send them an email at a time that's going to work for them. Bianca, our PR and social media coordinator, recently told me that she has a theory that Monday afternoon's a really good time to send an email because everyone already got their inbox sorted on Monday morning and then they see it in the afternoon.
Great one. Go B. Love that.
HubSpot has some other really cool features. Like one of them that we love to use is a template. So if you have an email that you send out all the time that's like a same kind of email, you can just literally put it into a template, and then when you're in your email, you'll just click template, it'll appear, and you can customize as you need to.
Magic.
So magical. The other one that is a really genius tool for sending out mass emails, if you're going to be sending out 100, 200, 300 emails, which hopefully you will be after listening to this episode, is called mail merge. I feel like mail merge is like this really old thing from like the early 2000s that people used to use. And when Renan mentioned it to me recently, I was like, what? But I use one called mail merge with attachments. And basically you create a spreadsheet, you put people's first name, last name, email address, whatever info you want to have in it. You put it into a Google spreadsheet. And with a click of a button, it's going to send this email to hundreds of people. But wait, I hear what you're thinking. How do you customize them? You just told me to customize and not send generic emails out. Well, you can customize so much with Mail Merge with attachments. By the way, this is not an ad. I just love this app. You can customize, so you can put into your spreadsheet, you can have a column where you write your personalized paragraph to each of those people, and then you tell Mail Merge in which point it's meant to insert those in. I have to warn you, Mail Merge with attachments has a lot of room for error, so you have to be very meticulous about checking that you've done everything the exact right way.
It's like you have to proofread or something, right?
Exactly. Proofread. Send yourself a test email, send yourself another test email. Make sure the first 3 people that you're sending to are yourself, so that you can like quickly, when you click start Mail Merge, you quickly go over and you make sure that it's all working correctly. But if you can get it working well, it's amazing. There's a really great YouTube video that you can watch on how to use Mail Merge with attachments. And we are going to put all these links that we've talked about today into the show notes.
Talking about something we're going to put in the show notes.
Yeah.
Inbox zero. So earlier we talked about how our inbox isn't messy. Our inbox isn't messy because we do inbox zero. Basically, when we started working for the first, I reckon like 5 or so years of running this business, our inbox was a mess. It
was a hot mess.
Thousands and thousands, probably tens of thousands towards the end of emails in our inbox. We would read some of them. We would not read some of them. They would just get lost into the abyss. We just like couldn't keep track of anything. And it meant that but firstly, it was really anxiety provoking. I remember just looking at that inbox being like, ugh, awful, hate it.
You just feel like you've got something hanging in the back of your head all the time.
But you also miss stuff. It means you're not as organized and it just feels crappy. So what we didn't come up with this, it is something that someone else came up with.
And it's this beautiful idea of inbox zero. So imagine if you click into your email and in front of you, you see 0 emails.
Isn't that the absolute dream?
Mm-hmm.
So the only bad thing is it requires you to spend quite a lot of time upfront sorting through your emails.
It's an upfront investment. It's like all good things.
Exactly. So you need to put aside like a day or something like that to sort through your messy inbox. But essentially what it is...
And just so you know, this is a tweaked version of Inbox Zero that we have come up with ourselves, and this is what really works for us. So you know how like people have folders, and like we used to be these people that you'd have like folder for invoices and a folder for people to respond to and a folder for, all different kinds of things. We don't have any folders. We just have our inbox, and then we have one folder that is called action.
That's all.
That's our whole inbox. And this works really well on Gmail, by the way. I'm not sure how well it works on other email addresses. You would have to like tweak it a little bit for yours.
So basically the way that it works is emails come in, and if we can respond to them straight away, and if we have time to, then we respond to them straight away. If they're going to take a little bit more time to respond to and we need brain power and we're in the middle of something, then we put them in action, which we'll get to later.
And really what you should be doing is checking your email a few times throughout the day.
Yeah, so like in the morning, maybe like depending on your industry, like every few hours.
Yeah, you don't want to be like constantly in your email because you just get so distracted and pulled away from things. But it's better if you're just like, all right, I'll check it every few hours, and anything that's in there, you either action it straight away. The rule is if it's under 2 minutes, go straight back. And if not, put it into action. And then once a day, at the end of the day, go through your action and spend a bit of time and sort through those emails and get rid of them.
And then anything that doesn't require either immediate action or action later, you just archive it. It's just that simple. Once you're like finished with you're corresponding, and then you don't need to correspond anymore, don't file it, just archive it.
And here's why. Because think about it. What are Google best at? They are best at search. And Gmail is created by Google. So when you need to search for an email, you can do it so much quicker than you could actually search through your own folders and find something. So by archiving it, you don't need to see it right now. Anything that you need, anything that you need me to recall in my email, I will go into it and I will retrieve it within 3 seconds through the search function.
Yeah, like, okay, so Panther sent us an invoice last month, let's say this, and we're trying to find it. Rather than searching through our invoice folder, which would take time and an annoying energy, you just write Panther invoice into your search. It's probably what you're doing anyway, but it's also filed away. Like, what the hell was the point in that?
And can I just say, this is a proven, tried and tested method. The other day, our good friends at Paired Eyewear complimented us on how amazing we are at emails, and this is our secret, people. We are lazy. We have come up with the 2 laziest tools ever, Inbox Zero and Follow Up Then, and honestly, you are going to be the most organized person on this planet.
So we really want you to get out there and be emailing these amazing persuasive emails. So just to rerun through what we've talked about today, you've got your hi, blah, you're getting their name right. You're definitely not getting their name wrong. As Stef said, that is the worst thing you can possibly do.
Then you've got your line that is customized. So it might be like, hope you're having a great week. I saw you've been in Milan lately. Hope it was incredible. How awesome was the Gucci store that you went to? I'm obsessed with this that they're working on right now.
Oh, that's such good customization. You've
Thanks.
done this before.
I sure have.
Then after that, you can go into you can go into what you're pitching them. You can go into your 3 points that are great.
Usually we'd start off that section by saying we have an incredible opportunity that we thought you'd be really excited about. You know, rev them up, get them excited, get them wanting to read on.
Know your worth. Don't talk yourself down. Don't thank them too much for reading your email. Just know that you are amazing and know that whatever you're emailing them about, they want to know. You're offering them this amazing opportunity that is working with you or connecting with you. So just know that and be confident in it and know your freaking worth. We said it before. We'll say it a zillion times.
Know your worth.
Know your worth. What?
Know your worth.
Who? Okay.
Anyway,
It's late.
moving on. And make sure you're thinking about what is my unique offering? What is awesome about me that I can really be bringing to these people? What can I offer them that they don't have? And that is going to be so genuine and it is going to come across. One thing we didn't touch on was a sign off. Usually we'll just stick with a good old kindest Jess and Stef. You can't go wrong with
Classic and effective.
Yeah, as Romina Calabro would say, never write cheers.
Oh, I write cheers.
I know, I write cheers sometimes when it's friendly.
When
but
it's super cash.
Yeah, exactly, but never on the first
We don't really
instance.
do an X, especially not on the first, or like unless you've met them in person and you're best friends. Don't write X, please.
Occasionally I write X when I'm trying to be friendly. Sorry.
We hope that you got a lot out of this episode.
We hope you are super persuasive at emailing now. And you know what? The best tip we can give you is if you want to have somebody read over it after, do it. Get your friend to read over it. Send it to somebody that you know is good at emailing. And honestly, we would be honored to read over your email for you.
Oh, that would be so fun. I love it when my friends ask me to read over an email.
But make sure when you send it to us, you've proofread it. Proofread again. Make sure it is perfect. Make sure you are so happy with it. If there's something about it that like makes you look away, then you shouldn't be sending it. Make sure it is perfect.
Exactly. And also just share with us. We'd love to hear whether you like this and what has come out of your new persuasive emailing skills. Epic.
So if you did like today's episode and you do feel like you're an expert persuasive emailer now, we would love you to help us get the word out. You can leave us a review in your podcast app. You can give us 5 stars, please. You can DM us on Instagram at How to Live and tell us what you thought. And also share a pic of you listening. We love to see where you're listening from.
Totally. Okay, guys, it's time.
The time has come, my friends.
We are about to reveal what amazing movie star we have on the podcast next week. Stephanie, tell them who it is.
It is Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan, you may know her from
You've Got Mail.
You may know her from
When Harry Met Sally.
You may know her from
Sleepless in Seattle. Or as somebody pointed out the other day, Anastasia. She's the voice of Anastasia.
Oh, yeah. She's the voice on our podcast.
Oh, my God, you guys. We got to sit down with Meg Ryan in her home in New York when we were recently there and have the most incredible chat with one of the most down-to-earth women/movie stars we've ever met.
And I want to tell you that this came, yet again, from a cold email.
You can't make this stuff up, people.
So this is an incredible conversation. She has so much wisdom to impart, and she's so freaking down to earth and lovely and warm, and I just want to cuddle up. She did such a great episode.
So we know you will be sleeplessing in Seattle this week, just waiting to hear this episode. Like what I did there?
I did. I liked it.
But in the meantime, we hope you have a fantastic week. Stay away from those horses, people.
And go out there and get them.
Woohoo!